All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to explore a framework that's really shaking up how we define a successful project. It's called the P5 standard, and it gives us a new, much more complete way to look at real-world impact.
To really get why P5 is such a big deal, we have to start with a major blind spot. One that's been part of traditional project management for decades.
And this really is the core question, isn't it? For years, we all judge projects by that iron triangle. Was it on time, on budget, within scope? But in the world we live in today, that view isn't just incomplete, it's actually dangerous, because it completely ignores the lasting footprint a project leaves on the world.
Look, if we just stick to those old metrics, we create these massive blind spots. Projects don't just exist in a spreadsheet, they have real, tangible effects on people and on the planet. And here's the bottom line. Not accounting for sustainability isn't just a nice-to-have anymore, it's a serious business risk.
And that's exactly where the P5 standard steps in. It was built from the ground up to solve this very problem, to give project teams a clear roadmap for weaving sustainability right into the fabric of their work. Okay, before we get any deeper, let's just quickly talk about what a standard even is. The International Standards Organization has a great definition. Think of it this way. It's not just a random set of rules. It's the collected, distilled wisdom of experts, all designed to find the best way of doing something, whether that's for safety or, in this case, for environmental management.
Now, the P5 standard is what's called an informative standard, and this is a really key point. It's not some rigid rulebook you have to follow to the letter. Instead, think of it like a flexible toolkit. It gives you best practices and solid recommendations on what you should be measuring and how you can integrate all of this into what you're already doing.
This is where you can really see how P5 evolves our thinking. It starts with a concept a lot of us already know, the triple bottom line of people, planet, and prosperity. But then it takes a huge leap forward. It adds two brand new dimensions, product and process. And this addition is what makes the whole thing so powerful. It forces us to look at not just the final impact, but also the sustainability of what we're making and how we're making it.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. 5 pillars sounds like a lot, right? But the P5 standard has this really elegant way of handling all that complexity so you can clearly map out a project's total impact.
So under the hood, the standard uses something called an ontology, which is just a fancy word for a map that shows how ideas are connected. But don't worry, you don't need to get lost in the weeds here. The framework neatly organizes all that complexity into 3 simple core categories.
So how do all 5 Ps actually fit together? Well, it's actually pretty clever. The impacts from your product and your process, they don't get their own separate bucket. Instead, you figure them out and then you sort them under one of those original 3 pillars: people, planet, or prosperity. This structure is the bedrock of the whole analysis. It keeps everything organized and focused right where it matters.
All right, so let's get into the practical side of this. How do you actually do this analysis? This is where we get into the P5 toolkit and what the standard calls the 5 lenses.
Everything, and I mean every impact, gets looked at from 2 main angles. First, there's the product perspective. That's the what. It's the thing you're actually delivering, whether it's a building or a new piece of software. Then you have the process perspective. That's the how. All the project management stuff you did to create that product. It's a simple split, but man, is it powerful.
And when P5 talks about analyzing a product, it's not just looking at a single moment in time, it's looking at the entire life cycle. You know, projects happen all the time. A hotel might need a big upgrade project years after it was built, right? During its maturity phase. Well, the P5 framework is built to handle that, to apply across this whole time.
So we've got our 2 perspectives, product and process. And inside those, P5 gives us 5 specific lenses to look through. We have lifespan and servicing for the product, and efficiency, effectiveness, and fairness for the process. And the standard is really clear on this. You have to use all 5. Why? Because they work together to uncover stuff you'd totally miss otherwise.
Let's make this real. Imagine we're analyzing local procurement for a new net zero ice cream factory. Okay, let's look through the product lifespan lens. Boom, we spot a huge long-term risk.
There are no local suppliers of renewable energy for the factory down the road. Now, let's switch to the process fairness lens. We see a problem right now. Our company's list of go-to suppliers, none of them are local. See? Each lens gives you a totally different but absolutely critical piece of the puzzle.
And this framework isn't just some internal exercise for your team. Nope, it's designed to connect your project to the real world in a structured, super meaningful way.
Think about it. A project's real footprint goes way beyond your immediate team, right? You've got suppliers, partners, distributors, the whole chain. P5 is built to stretch across that entire value chain, getting everyone on the same page about sustainability.
And the framework is also incredibly scalable. Yeah, its home base is the individual project, but these same ideas, they apply perfectly to programs and even whole portfolios. This lets a company build a consistent, smart approach to sustainability from the ground up.
And here's something absolutely crucial. P5 isn't just floating out there on its own. It's designed to snap right into place with all the major global frameworks, like the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the GRI standards. So what does that mean for you? It means when you use P5, you're automatically speaking the same language as the rest of the world on this stuff, which makes your reporting way more credible.
Okay, so let's bring it all home. What does this really mean for you and whatever project you're working on next?
When you boil it all down, what's the number one thing the P5 standard gives us? It's a totally new definition of what success even looks like. It hands us the tools to finally break free from just talking about time, scope, and budget, and to start measuring the impact that truly matters.
And it is so important to see this the right way. P5 isn't another checklist or more red tape to deal with. It's a strategic tool. It's a new pair of glasses that helps you spot risks you never saw coming and find opportunities for innovation you would have otherwise missed. It leads to smarter, stronger, and more successful projects. So, we'll leave you with this question. The next time you're mapping out a project, just try it. Look at it through these lenses. Ask about the product and the process. About the impact on people, planet, and prosperity. What hidden risks, and maybe more importantly, what amazing new opportunities are just waiting there for you to find them.